we have no real property rights. Think about that for a moment. That house you live in, that car you drive, that small or not so small acreage of land that has been passed down through your family. At no point do you ever have any real ownership in anything other than the clothes on your back. Everything else can be seized by the government under one pretext or another: civil asset forfeiture, unpaid taxes, eminent domain, public interest, etc. That's how little respect the government has for our rights. It used to be that you could post a no trespassing sign on your property to send the message that no one could venture onto your private property without your permission. Unfortunately, American taxpayers have become trespassers on their own property thanks to the government's ongoing land grabs and utter disregard for property rights. So much for that whole pipe dream about one's home being one's castle. When it comes right down to it, the right to property is the first and last right, and perhaps the most inherent. The undermining and dissolution of this critical right may well prove to be one of the few things to rouse the American people to action, hopefully so. As polls show, Americans have been willing to accept limitations on their rights to free speech, privacy, and due process, as well as other important freedoms in exchange for the phantom promise of security. At its core, the American dream is about gaining sovereignty over one's life and property. Without this sovereignty, this unshakable guarantee of ownership and dominion, even over one's own life, there can be no true liberty or freedom. This most sacred of rights is under siege now. More than 200 years after early Americans went to war over their right to life, liberty, and property, we the people have now been reduced to little more than serfs in bondage, indentured servants, and sharecroppers. If the government can tell you what you can and cannot do within the privacy of your home, whether it relates to what you eat, what you smoke, or whom you love, you're not the king or queen in your little castle. Find out more on this week's edition of Battlefield America.